Log-a-mug. Given how expensive it is to reach the higher levels of the bridge and how little staff get paid, is there a really big shortage of qualified staff members to teach the OT level teachings? In terms of a straight answer of supply and demand, I don't think that the demand is outweighing the supply of OT members in the Sea Org. Remember, it's the Sea Organization that is exclusively delivering OT levels or anything having to do with the OT stuff. So you not only have to be an OT to deliver the OT levels or service people on the OT levels, you also have to be in the Sea Org. And that's where there is a bit of a lack of OTs. And they have to make them, just like you have to make them anywhere else, right? And so there are efforts made periodically within the Sea Organization to boost people up to the OT levels so they can be OT delivery personnel. I was actually on such a schedule. I was going to be made OT because I was clear and they were going to, and this was in the early 2000s. In fact, right before I went to the RPF, because it was during that process that I coughed, hey, I had this, sort of phone sex thing with this woman and she's not my wife. And, nuclear explosions went off and, my trip to OT was canceled. I was kicked off that OT train and I was sent straight to the RPF. So that was so much for that. So you'll see efforts like that made periodically, always in order to fulfill some order or command from Miscavige about personnel and needs, right? And people get transferred around in the Sea Org all the time. We just did a podcast where I laid all of this out in some pretty grim detail as to what it was like to live through, transferring people around and how the Sea Org works that way. So OTs are not a dime a dozen. They are very prized. They are very special Sea Org members. But OTs can fall out of grace and fall out of favor just as easily as anybody else can, because they screw up just as bad as everybody else does. And in fact, are often put into senior positions of authority or power because they're OT. And then they screw up and spectacularly fail. So, if you're an OT, there's judging there. There's certainly status and there is judgment when you fail. That's just part of the culture and the package of the whole thing. But anyway, as far as numbers of OTs, they've got enough OTs right now in terms of auditors and case supervisors and word clearers and supervisors to deal with the demand that they have. They've certainly got that covered. If they were to, get some heavy influx of new people coming in, then they might have problems and they might have to, rearrange and do things. But that's par for the course for Scientology. They've always got personnel problems. Being OT is just one of many layers of that problem.